Today we've got a roundup of some unique and one-of-a-kind travel gear and gadgets. We've done this with everyday carry stuff before. I thought it'd be fun to do a roundup of travel gear. We've got a really great list here with some true standouts, so let's just get right into it. First up is a linen travel towel. I found this one on Amazon, but there are a ton of choices out there, and I think you should definitely be looking into it. We're all probably familiar with the really packable small synthetic towels and the more popular Turkish towels that are 100% cotton. Both are solid choices, but I think linen might be a better way to go for a lot of us. Linen towels combine some of the best features from both, but add in a few other really great things. First off, it packs down a lot smaller than your average Turkish towel. It's about the size of a softball, and this is like a full 30-inch by 60-inch bath towel. So you get a lot closer to that normal towel experience without having to take up the extra bulk in your suitcase. Outside of that, though, there are a ton of things going for it. Linen is a little bit of a stronger fabric than cotton. Typically, it's also going to absorb at least the same, if not more. On top of that, though, linen has a ton of antimicrobial properties, so it's antibacterial and antifungal. It also dries a lot quicker than cotton, even more so than the popular Turkish towel. So it's going to dry quicker, it's going to prevent bacteria buildup, it's going to pack smaller, and it's going to be a lot nicer to use compared to those really tiny synthetics. I think it's worth checking out. You know, they're about the same price as most Turkish towels, so it feels like a no-brainer to me. Next up, we have a pair of sunglasses from Ombraz. I first learned about these from a hiking YouTube channel called Jupiter Hikes. Really great guy. Go check his channel out if you haven't seen it before. But these are actually completely armless sunglasses. Obviously, they're not necessarily travel specific, but I think this design lends itself to travel and outdoor adventure stuff very easily. First off, you're not going to have to worry about these falling off your face or falling out of your pocket or falling from your shirt collar when you're going out and about, whether you're walking around the city or you're going on a hike or any of that stuff. You can wear them around your neck when they're not in use and they're just kind of out of the way, but you don't have any risk of dropping them. For whatever reason, this design feels much more normal and natural on your head than you would expect. I put them on, they are extremely comfortable and they still very much feel like normal glasses. You don't have to tighten them super tight to your face or anything. They stay on really well. It's awesome. Because there aren't any arms, they're going to pack a lot smaller and they have a lot fewer failure points. I think this is a huge feature. You know, they come with this nice little neoprene sleeve. It's super thin compared to most sunglass cases, and you're going to be able to put this in your pocket or put in a sling bag a lot more easily than bigger, bulky sunglass cases. But you also still get the protection without having to worry about bending the arms because there aren't any arms. Outside of the unique design though, the build quality is really excellent. The lenses are excellent as well. They use Zeiss lenses. The model I have here is called the Leggero. It's kind of their squared off aviator style, but they have, I think, 6 or 7 different options right now. They're a 1% for the Planet member. They plant mangrove trees with every pair sold. They also have a lifetime warranty on these. They seem to be huge advocates for fixing over replacing, which is really great to see. The company seems really great. The quality seems great. I think this is a no-brainer for anyone that does any kind of outdoor activities, but even for like regular standard type of city travel. Next up, we have the Bihn travel tray. I talked about this in my summer travel gear video because I think it is perfect for outdoor activity type of stuff, but its main use case and plan is for standard regular travel. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of just an EDC Catch-All type of tray. This one here is the large size. It's 8 inches in diameter and 2.5 liters. They also have a small one available that's 1.5 liters with a 5.3 inch diameter. It only weighs 55 grams. It packs completely flat, so you can really scrunch this down into a tiny little ball of nothing, but you also really get some structure in it when you want to use it when you get to your destination. The one big thing that sold me on this is that you can actually flip it out and drawstring it closed. So I think this is perfect for like beach days, camping, that sort of thing. When you're outdoors, you want to be able to just dump your stuff, you know, go swimming. But I think also for hotels, you know, if you're in a smaller hotel, kind of a good way to do a pocket dump at the end of the night and not have to worry about forgetting something or leaving it behind. Next up, I've got a couple of Bellroy items I want to talk about and a bit of a special announcement. Bellroy was kind enough to partner with me on today's video as well, so a huge thanks to them. Bellroy recently partnered with a few creators, myself being one of them, and asked if we wanted to put together our own little travel kit from the Bellroy lineup. I decided to put together my own little ultralight adventure travel set with the Lite Ready Pack and the Lite Sling. If you do any kind of travel like I do, I think these two items make for one of the most versatile sets of travel pieces I've used in a very long time. I've talked about both of these individually before, so I won't get super spec heavy here, but the Lite Ready Pack is 18 liters, the Lite Sling is 7 liters. Combined, both bags weigh less than 1.5 pounds, so if you're super weight conscious, I think this combo is great. The Lite Ready Pack is small enough to be used as a personal item, so whether you want to use a bigger roller, carry-on bag, or a check bag, or if you want to go ultralight like I've shown in the past, you can use this as your main travel bag, and it fits into the personal item category in terms of luggage fees and everything. Combined with this, you have the Lite Sling. I'm a huge advocate for bringing a sling with you when you're traveling. You have kind of a smaller quick access plain bag, which comes in really handy, but you also have something a little bit smaller and more manageable to use when you're walking around and going about your day. One other option for the Lite Ready Pack, if you want to pack a larger backpack or use a wheeled carry-on or something like that, this weighs less than 1 pound and packs down to practically nothing, so you can throw it into your bag and kind of have it ready when you get to your destination. For me, I think these really shine one for like ultralight travel. I've done a ton of videos on that before for packing super small for a personal item, but I think also that like hybrid adventure travel type of mindset. I do a lot of hiking and backpacking and try and get outdoors as much as possible when I go to different places. These kind of allow me to be able to go day hike or have little adventures during my trip without having to pack bigger, heavier, bulkier type of gear. I love the material that they're using. It's their Duralite nylon. It has a softer, more organic type of look and feel outside of being super light, but you also have water resistant zips on all of the exterior pockets here, which is a must. If you're going to be outdoors, you don't want to get anything wet and damaged or ruined, especially when you're far away from home. So if you want to check these out for yourself, I actually have my own dedicated page on Bellroy's website explaining these in a little bit more detail, and there's some fun extra photos and stuff there. But even better, you get a 15% discount if you want to buy these as a set. I wanted to pick some lower priced items as well, so they're ultralight. They're pretty inexpensive, and you get an extra discount if something like this would suit you. This is one of my favorite personal item bags, and this is my like everyday sling even outside of travel right now. 2 excellent items. I love this clay color. So huge thanks to Bellroy for partnering with me on today's video and including me in this idea. I think it's awesome. Be sure to check the link in the description. Let's move into the next item. Longtime favorite for me, these are the arcade belts. Definitely not news if you've been around the channel for a while, but I still haven't found or seen anything quite like them, and I still use them on a daily basis in and out of travel. So arcade belts are completely metal-free, TSA-friendly belts. They're super stretchy and comfortable. They're made with 85% post-consumer recycled polyester and 15% rubber. Now, having something as comfortable as possible is so important if you're taking long flights or long road trips or anything like that. You don't want to worry about your pants falling down or being super uncomfortable from a bigger, chunkier belt. You also don't want to have to worry about rushing to take your belt off as TSA is yelling at you to move and hurry and, why didn't you already do this sort of stuff? It's nonsense. They also have so many different designs and colors and options available on their website. They actually just recently sent this out to me. They did a collab with Nat Geo. So they have a few Nat Geo collab type of belts. They have one that's bright yellow that I almost got, but just didn't think it would fit my wardrobe that well. But the black one is really nice. I also have been really loving this Futureweave belt. Braided belts are a little bit trendier right now, usually leather, but I feel like this passes and definitely looks great in a lot of my outfits. But I've been wearing these on all of my flights for probably like 4 or 5 years now. Never had any issues, and I continue to wear them in my day-to-day just because they are that comfortable and convenient. Not very expensive either. Got a really unique pair of shoes up next. These are from a brand called Soul. They are their Jasper Chukkas. These aren't specifically marketed as travel shoes, but they check all of the boxes for travel for me for a number of reasons, and they also have a really interesting story with the materials and their environmental consciousness with making these. The main reason travel came to mind for these for me is they are extremely comfortable. They feel like slippers with the most supportive insole and sole attached to them that I've ever felt. From my understanding, the company mainly makes support insoles, so that kind of explains the support aspect, but they are incredibly comfortable and super easy to slip on and off. So really ideal for plane travel, taking your shoes on and off for security, but also for long plane rides or long car rides. The other aspect I wanted to talk about though, because I've never really seen anyone else do it, is their emphasis on really natural materials and recycled materials. So giving a brief rundown of what you're seeing here, the outsole is made of rubber, the midsole here is made made of recycled cork from wine bottles. The upper is made from responsibly sourced merino wool, and it's actually stuffed with bison fur that's been upcycled from ranch waste. Really crazy to list all of that stuff off in succession. I love seeing more natural materials being used. It's always a huge benefit. I think also too, having this wool upper is really good for travel, antimicrobial, temperature regulating, so you get some extra benefits in that aspect too. They actually have a full sustainability report for the shoes on their website, and it's actually printed on the box as well when you receive it, so super cool. The only real downside here for me is the style. They're not the most stylish. I think they work with some of my like crunchier Portland type of outfits. You're not going to win any contests though for best looking shoes, but if you're okay with looking a little dorky, these are amazingly comfortable. They're made with natural materials, super supportive. Everything else is a complete 10 out of 10 for me. Next up, we have an Ultralight Travel Clothesline. This is from Sea to Summit. This is their Light Line Clothesline. It's 11.5 feet or 3.5 meters. This whole thing, including the little pouch, weighs less than an ounce, 25 grams. I actually got this idea from someone in the community. We were talking about it a while back with sink laundry and how great it would be to have a travel clothesline. This one's not quite like any other clotheslines I've seen on the market because they include these little beads on the line here that completely eliminate the need for any kind of clips to hang up your clothes. The little beads are able to slide around the line and kind of pinch and hold the things in place. In practice, it works pretty well. You can use multiples if you want to keep a more straight type of line for drying things even faster, or you can just, throw up a towel real quick with one little attachment. Really cool idea, not very expensive, extremely light and small to be able to throw in your bag if you do any kind of sink laundry. I think this is a really great choice for camping stuff as well. Sea to Summit's usually a little bit more outdoor focused, but definitely a really solid choice if you've ever needed a clothesline when you're traveling. Next up is for the coffee or espresso nerds out there. This is the Outin portable espresso machine. I've had this on my radar for at least a year. I finally bit the bullet and picked one up so I could check it out. Essentially, it is an espresso maker and a kettle all in one. There are lots of small, compact, portable espresso machines out there, but I haven't seen anyone else making one with a built-in way to heat up the water. So you don't need to worry about bringing a second item with a travel kettle, and you don't need to worry about having access to boiling water wherever you're staying. Both those are not always possible. I bring my packed pour over travel kettle sometimes, but it's kind of big and bulky to pack, so I leave it behind, probably more often than not these days. So having something that has built-in heated water was really compelling to me. So I've been testing this out. It's pretty cool, but definitely far from perfect. Just a little bit of a disclaimer, I'm not a huge espresso guy. I'm usually a Chemex pour-over type of person or a big AeroPress Go fan. So know that up front, espresso is finicky and difficult, and I am very inexperienced. That being said, I haven't been able to get a really great cup out of this. I've tried a few different things and I always tend to over-extract or under-extract and can't get it just right. I think a lot of that boils down to user error, but it's definitely worth mentioning if you're not really dialed in on how to make espresso properly like myself. You get a pretty great crema layer on top of the shot, which was kind of surprising from me for a machine like this, but novices be warned, it will take a lot of trial and error to get things dialed in. Another kind of weird, interesting thing, having the built-in water heater is great, but that pulls a ton of power, has a built-in 7500 milliamp hour battery inside, but if you need to heat the water in the unit, it will only work 3 to 5 times before you have to recharge. So as with any other water heating device or kettle, it is extremely power hungry, but I do appreciate the option to do it all completely in one. If you have access to hot water, it'll apparently run like 100 or 200 times, but in that case, I would probably go with something like the Picopresso. Seems to be a little more favored in the espresso community. For me personally, as someone that's not huge in espresso, I think the AeroPress Go is still king. That's $40 versus $150 for this. You get very different things, so I'm not comparing it in an apples to apples type of way, but for travel coffee, the AeroPress Go will remain in my kit. It was really interesting to check this out though, and I think there is still definitely a lot of merit here. If you're a huge espresso enthusiast, you'll probably have a really great time with this. If you travel a lot without any access to really hot water, I think you'll also have a really great time with this. I'm glad I got to check it out, but definitely not going to dethrone the less expensive, more compact AeroPress Go for me. Next up is one of the weirder items I've seen. This is the Turtle Travel Pillow. I actually first saw this on Good Mythical Morning a couple months back. They had featured it on the show. It seems extremely popular and I'd never heard of it before. It is a fresh take take on the ever-divisive travel pillow. I've always been someone to recommend an inflatable pillow in a lot of cases. It packs down a lot smaller, it weighs less, it's usually less expensive than those donut-shaped ones. Those are just pretty limiting and annoying and aren't really that comfortable anyway. Seeing this fresh shape though gave me some hope. I'm normally more of a side sleeper, and this seems to be designed mainly for, side resting. In practice, it's a lot more comfortable than this thing looks. It's essentially just a little plastic frame in here with a little bit of a foam padding layer around the plastic, and then you have just like this fleece that wraps around like a scarf. I feel like I can say this is the most comfortable in-transit travel pillow I've ever used, but it definitely comes with some flaws. First up is the price. This thing's $65. It feels like it should be half of that price. Not gonna knock it too bad, but I did want to make note it's the most expensive option I've ever tested. The other potentially bigger problem, this thing kind of gets in the way of headphones, whether it's over ear or earbud. It kind of rests a little awkwardly around your ears, so I think you're gonna have some clearance issues with earbuds or over ear headphones. That in itself is kind of a deal breaker for me, to be honest. I haven't quite found a good position with it that's perfectly comfortable and doesn't get in the way of the headphones. It's usually one or the other. Outside of that though, like I said, is probably the most comfortable in-transit travel pillow I've ever used. And it's also extremely small and packable, which I love. I think for me, I'd probably go with an inflatable pillow, or my personal favorite right now that I use for camping and backpacking and travel, the Thermarest compressible pillow. The smaller size packs down pretty small if I really need a pillow, and it feels a lot more like a pillow from home. It's less expensive than this, a little bit more versatile because you can use it when you get to your destination as a regular on-the-bed type of pillow. Still probably my favorite in this type of category. Next up here we have the NOCFree Lite split keyboard. I know split keyboards are definitely a thing for just normal use for the better ergonomics, but I think this has some serious implications for travel if you're a big mechanical keyboard person and don't want to travel around with one that is really big and bulky. Because of the split design, I think it's a lot easier to pack, and then they also have this really nice neoprene travel case type of sleeve. The combination of the two I think makes it a much easier option to bring a full regular mechanical keyboard with you. Going over some of the details here, it's a 65% compact keyboard, fully hot swappable. They have the option of tactile, linear, or silent switches. They have RGB as an option as well. It's a plastic build and body here, which is a pro or a con depending on how you look at it. I'm a big fan of really hefty aluminum body type of keyboards at home, but you want to save some weight when you're traveling. So if you're traveling, I think that's a pro. The option I have here is the gray color with tactile switches and the RGB. I think it looks really great. You can kind of push it together and forget that it's a split keyboard, but outside of the travel benefits here, there are a lot of really great ergonomic benefits to having this. It's going to allow your arms to sit more naturally if you're typing for extended times compared to that pronation on your wrists, having something really close and compact together. Even outside of travel, if you're trying to improve your ergonomics at your home desk, I think this is a really great option. Something else I found a really great use for this as well. I have a MIDI keyboard that I use at my desk at home, and trying to switch and move keyboards around when I have the MIDI keyboard out is annoying. So you can kind of have this on either side of the MIDI keyboard, which is great. I also think I saw on their marketing materials, they have their cat lounge in the middle. So if your cat goes up on your desk when you're working a lot, you can kind of have them right front and center, still get your work done on the sides, which is kind of fun. It's been a really great experience overall testing this the past month or two. My only real gripe is the pricing. Depending on your build, it's going to range anywhere from $180 to $250. So they're not winning any value awards compared to some other mechanical keyboards I've tested and used and loved. You're going to pay a little bit of a premium for this type of split design. That being said, it might be worth that extra $40 or $50 if you really are concerned with the ergonomics, if you're having wrist problems. But, specifically talking for this video, if you want to be able to travel with a full-size mechanical keyboard, I think this form factor is so much easier to pack. It's pretty wild. That's going to be it for the list today, though. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I thought we had a fun list to go through. I don't normally throw this in again at the end, but be sure to go check out my Bellroy page. I would really appreciate it. Those bags have been great for me. Huge thanks to all of you for watching, though, and I'll talk to you in the next one.